look of concentration on both teams' faces. You can understand why. They've had to sit and watch. Plenty of top PES action today. It makes it... Would you like to be first up, or does it not matter? I mean, I guess you get more time to practice together if you are later on in the day.
Yeah, but there's also that sense of anticipation, and if you are one of those experienced players, maybe that's where the nerves start to creep in. That's where you start to maybe focus on things outside of the game rather than focusing on the game itself. Me personally, I'd rather be first up, get my game out of the way, get 6 points, put the feet up, watch the others, and maybe start researching for the next match day.
Okay, yeah, because that's a good point. If you play earlier, you can perhaps, because you're not concentrating on your match, you can really watch your then next opponents potentially playing the tactics they might use. Whereas if you've got a game coming up after them, you're probably not going to be quite as concentrated on their match. But not against Manchester United. United, another of the teams who have a coach here as a fourth player, looking through their particular tactics.
I mean, looking at Manchester United, they're probably one of the main benefactors of the winter transfer update. Obviously, Data Pack 4 now available in eFootball PES 2020. Bruno Fernandes is a player I expect to be prevalent within Manchester United's attack here against FC Nantes. I mean, what an attacking threat to have gained within the winter transfer window. They're going to be buzzing to use him.
And Odi Nagalo, who I think came a little bit out of the blue. He's admitted himself, dream come true, boyhood Manchester United fan, signed from the Chinese Super League. What United don't necessarily have was that big physical presence up front. They have a lot of pace in Rashford and Martial and James, but expect maybe not to see Igalo starting, but he is potentially now an option to bring a bit of physicality on later on in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I spoke to again some of the United guys beforehand. Was talking to them about Fernandes and Igalo, and I wouldn't be surprised if they utilised off the bench rather than being starters, because they, United are now used to playing with particular players. If you look there, Mata is a very kind of key component to what they play with, and Damani Mella, who's their main focal point as well. He's their main kind of number 9.
Now, plenty of people will have watched this from the start and know, and will look forward to every match day. If we've got any new viewers, they might look at that team and think Damani Mella, who plays for the under-23s, but just explain why United have chosen to use him.
Yeah, so in terms of the team selections, these guys will have looked at every little stat that they've got. Some players have player traits that actually aren't relevant in or aren't in other players, and then have looked at them and even when I mentioned, well, why not Fernandes over Mata? Vishal or the Almighty DS was playing to me, well, Mata's finishing is better, so we'll bring him on at a different point. Mata's 83. That's the reason why we'd go with Mata. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's the level that these guys go to look at these things. They look at every little detail because they want to give themselves the most competitive edge, and that's the reason why you look at some of those players at United side and go, well, why are they playing this guy but not this guy? And that's what they're looking at. They look at every little bit, and you can look at these stats at home and you'll see exactly why as well.
And it's one of the great things about this competition, eFootball.Pro, that it is very much Manchester United against Nantes. So for these guys, they know what their pool of players is. That's what they have to work with, and they just have to make the best of who they have, and therefore you see these interesting team selections. Again, we can see more tactics. They both know exactly. It'd be a bit of pressure if you're the man that has to employ them and make sure you don't press the wrong button and accidentally play someone out of position.
Yeah, more importantly, United have, the last couple of match days have been starting with Paul Pogba, not in the starting 11 today. Instead of trying McTominay and Matic as a holding midfielder, maybe that's to nullify. Hold on.
Seems like there's, again, maybe a slight issue there on the stage. Our referees are on it. Fabulous to see, I would chime in and say. Manchester United players, they're wearing the 3rd strip. It's very fashionable, the black camouflage with the fluorescent orange accents. I'm quite partial to that kit, I won't lie. Manchester United have had some nice kits in the past few years.
Yep, I would agree with that. You're very happy, particularly the fluorescent badge. You certainly can't miss them, can you?
No, certainly not. But not losing them in the dark anytime soon.
But they are playing in red, unfortunately, on the actual game of PES that they're about to see. So just some slight adjustments. We were only a minute in, so I think we're just going to be back underway. And I think it was Ostripuk who just blasted that out of play. It wasn't his fault, but
I think it's the old. I haven't charged my controller before the game trick, and I think that's essentially what's happened. But
Someone getting
I think
some new batteries.
I think it's full fair play, which I think should be absolutely applauded. Is that it's gone back to Nantes and they played it in the right fashion.
And also, thank goodness it came just a minute in and not when someone was through on goal.
Quite, yeah.
Absolutely. So FC Nantes versus Manchester United, not attacking from left to right. That's a dangerous control from Scott McTominay. FC Nantes will be attacking this right-hand goal, and Koulibaly is a man that in previous weeks Wes Nantes had targeted as their catalyst, as their talisman to really get things going. Will they do it here again? Yeah,
I mean, anything good that comes of a Nantes attack is going to come through that man. You know, but you know, it's the accompanying cast that go with it. Yuan has been very good. Oh, it's a lovely touch from Mellot.
Absolutely lovely from Damani Mellot. Doesn't go his way in the end, though, but you were saying, yeah, you're right. Koulibaly, I mean, when you combine him with players who are always on the same page, like Kepa and Roxer, who have years of experience playing together in 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3 competitions, it's only going to yield success, and it has so far for FC Nantes.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you look at the way that they are, and we said it before, they have the ability to turn it on as and when they want to. However, this United side are really lacking in form at the moment, and they really need to kind of get themselves out of the doldrums, because there's nobody that's going to play this game for them. 6 points today for them would be very much welcomed. And they have the ball now. Rashford looking for Anthony Martial, looking for the drag back. It was almost very successful, well read though in the end. Yeah, the good thing I'm liking about this as well at the moment is that a lot of these players are now starting to utilise skills. They're starting to be a little bit more creative with what they're doing, which is it's great to see. As Koulibaly makes it through. David De Gea is there. Coming back to that point though, Wes, do you think that's maybe at this stage of the season players really settling into their squads and starting to know the strengths and weaknesses of their players? Yeah, I think looking at it, I think they really, it's not necessarily the strengths of their players, it's the fact that we're getting to this business end of the season now where, you know, players are going to have to start making these choices. And, Rashford, you know, these games will run out. Damani Mellot into Martial, and it's a dream start within 20 minutes here for Manchester United. Absolutely wonderful build-up play, and in the end it's a tremendous goal and a dream start for them.
Certainly is. Lovely celebration, not with some thinking to do. That was Manchester United. That was peak Manchester United. Terrific football. And it fell to the man they would have wanted it to. Their number 9, Anthony Martial. I mean, and United lead.
Tremendous build-up play. This first time back heel, whoever was controlling Damani Mellot there, probably the assist of the match day, to be honest with you. That's so selfless and really, really impressive to find his teammate. Whoever was controlling Anthony Martial is the man to stick it home, and it's a good start from United. And looking at that, it's Cam's.
Talking and kind of going back to what Chris was saying, if you are a first-time viewer and you're wondering why Damani Mellot is in the starting 11, that type of assist is exactly why.
Koulibaly now, chance for a response, but that type of tackle from Nemanja Matic is pretty much trademark of his career, and he will go into the book early on here in this first half.
I hope Nemanja Matic isn't watching.
Mondale looking to get in around the back, but now a chance for United to break with Scott McTominay, who's broken into the first team this season for Manchester United. Fed to Damani Mellot now down this right-hand side. United looking good here early on. Mata waiting on the edge, instead finds Marcus Rashford. Mata's here once again, finds Martial! 2-0! United are onto a flyer. Second goal within the first half. FC Nantes, we've seen them previously this season form some tremendous comebacks, but if United keep on like this, Wes, I don't think there's any way back.
Well, United have started off absolutely on fire, and Nantes have been caught cold. They've not really been able to establish the physical gameplay that we are so used to. However, it's the quick thinking of Juan Mata to find it in, and it's that man again, Anthony Martial. It's a lovely finish into the top left-hand corner.
All came from that Scott McTominay ball into the box, which was initially not cleared. Look at that, Manchester United are on fire here on match day 5.
Well, you see the response there from Cams and Eldridge embracing each other. They know they're not where they need to be in the league table. 7th coming into today. They need as many points as they possibly can. And FC Nantes, who started today within, or in and around the top 6, this would be, again, one of those potential 12-pointers. Let's take a little listen here, see what I believe this is Manchester United have to say about tweaking maybe their tactics. Keep focus.
Well, this result is currently putting United above Nantes and into the top 6.
Here is Erman looking for Koulibaly. Harry Maguire dealt with that very well. Cams with his 4th goal of the season and 2nd of the game. I mean, we're only in the first half. And one more goal, he could be securing himself a match ball. Not though. Want one of their own. Koulibaly and, oh, I'm not sure who that was in the end to stick it home, but Nantes won't care at all. It's one back. And 3 goals within the first half here of this game between Manchester United and FC Nantes. Game on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of fortune for United not really getting the chance to clear their lines, and, you know, not taking every possible chance. They're not going to mind. They're not going to mind how that goal comes. It's something to kind of break stride and will kind of put doubt in that Man United backline once again.
In the end, it's Rolly Pereira Dessart, the French defender, to stick it home. Midfielder for FC Nantes to stick it home for the French side.
Despairing lunge from the United captain, Harry Maguire. And Nantes are back in this contest. I think that was their first attempt on target. Here's Rashford, though. Straight from kickoff. Oh, yes. Marcus Rashford lights up this game, and United's 2-goal cushion is restored. What a response.
Ostrobich with the goal, and we were still celebrating Kepa's goal at the other end. And it's the young man Ostrobich to reinstate the 2-goal cushion straight from kickoff. It can often happen in PES, and Manchester United, that's a perfect response.
But you can tell from the reactions of these goals going in, it's not the typical responses you get from O'Neill. It's not the typical responses you get from Cams. These guys know they're under a bit of pressure and they know that they need some results, but to go and do that, it's clipped off the post and in. It was a super finish.
Bit of a defensive mistake there maybe from FC Nantes. We saw 2 players come across to try and meet Rashford, I think it was, in the end.
Yeah, and it goes back to that communication thing. It goes back to the, you know, are you communicating enough with your players to let them know you're going for a ball?
The young Scots' 4th goal of the 2020 season for Manchester United. He's been such good return on United's investment. They took a massive risk with Ostrobich, obviously only breaking through the ranks last year back in Portugal. It was a pleasure to see him reach the semi-finals there. Here he is on the biggest PES stage so far this year. Really, really stepping up to the plate. What can FC Nantes do to get themselves back in this game? Simon looking for Koulibaly first time, cleared by Eldridge. And wow, that's a physical tackle there by an FC Nantes player. Martial finds Rashford, spreads it to Mata, and Damani Mella was through there again, so a vital intervention. Here is Dessart. Scott McTominay, though, will put out the fire here at the back. Long ball to Martial. He's bested there, though, and I think that the last touch would have been an FC Nantes player. And you can see in the reaction cam there, Roxa a bit disappointed with himself. If this one leads to a goal, just remember that touch. Maguire couldn't quite win the header. Maybe chance for one last break. Martial there going in for a professional foul. Not able to connect, and oh, maybe the last attack will come up the other way. Nope. Good defence from both sides. 3-1 United at the half.
Terrific. That for Manchester United. 3 shots on target, 3 goals. Clinical. I tell you what, Martial might have been a little lucky he didn't connect there. We haven't seen a red card today, but they were 3-1 up. It would have been almost a throwaway challenge from behind, but you never quite know. Some referees might have deemed that to be a red card, but terrific start from United. I think I'm right in saying that is the most goal-laden opening period we've had so far today. And this is the penultimate game of match day 5. This has been thoroughly entertaining. Long may it continue in the second period.
Yeah, I mean, not one of those teams, as we've said before, you know, happy to take as many shots as possible. United, who we're listening into right now, need the points, so they can't skimp on any attacks. Let's listen in, if I can put my teeth back in, to Manchester United, and I think Cams is saying we have the kickoff.
Yeah, so what he's saying there is keep the normal formation. So with eFootball PES, you can set up 3 formations in your game plan screen. What he's essentially saying there is keep that same formation. We don't need to deviate just yet. So I'm guessing they have a defensive game plan for if and when their backs are up against it, and they have an offensive one if they need to be. But at the moment, the normal one's just doing the job as
Limbombe! Rotzer with a goal! Ayaz Babis, you can see there, a little disappointed, and based on their reactions, I think we may well have another technical issue. The goal will stand, but we will obviously have our referees up there on the stage to make sure, again, everything is in order. And competitive integrity is paramount here in the eFootball.Pro, and we don't want to step on anyone's toes in that regard. So,
absolutely.
A goal-laden game, though, Chris. I mean, so fun to watch. Long may it continue.
5 goals, and we'll await official confirmation, but I think we will restart the match, which will be 0-0 again, play one half, and any of those scores will be added to this. It's frustrating for the players, but ultimately we're in the land of technology and computers, and sometimes things happen. Let's hope once they get back on the way that they'll just pick up where they left off, because I think that, for me, it's probably been the most entertaining match we've seen today. One of the Boa Vista Celtic games was good, but both teams just flying forward. Not too much defending going on, but an awful lot of excellent attacking football, Harry.
And you can see a lot of camaraderie there across the stage. Obviously, both sets of players in the same boat. So, sounds like we are going to be playing another half of eFootball PES with the same score, 3-2 to Manchester United, and we will add any goals on to this next half that we play onto the 3-2 scoreline. So as you were, essentially,
this is a huge 45 minutes coming up. We mentioned the table. The top 6 go through to the knockout stages. United currently have clambered above Nantes, and indeed above Celtic, to go into 6th spot. So it's a big period for Nantes, and they, I mean, fortunately, had that happened a second earlier, they may not have scored their second goal, but this is the reason that Manchester United are 3-2 up. Anthony Martial amongst the goals today. It's been a terrific watch, and plenty more action to come between these two, but that's where Anthony Martial is deadly. And interesting, we've seen a lot today going for the near post instead of curling it beyond the cross goal. Yeah. Any reason for that?
A lot of the time it's to catch out whether anybody does any manual goalkeeping, realistically, because a lot, you know, if you were playing football, you know, down your local park, you're trying to find the corners and you're going to try and go across the goalkeeper, whereas these guys know they can set the keeper and manually move him across. The keeper's already made the save, but if you gamble, you've left the near post far open. So if you go to the near post as like a default option, you can actually catch a lot of players out anyway.
Manchester United look very, very sharp today. It's got to be said. We've seen them in previous match days really come out a little lackluster. My worry for them is that, similarly on previous match days where they have been able to score goals early, they've really not been able to sit on their leads and really have, leaked too many goals late on, which has led them to dropping points. I mean, thinking back to when they played Celtic a couple of match days ago, last match day actually, I think it was. No, the match day before that. They dropped a couple of points, which might have seen them enter today in the knockout position. So for me, it's about United being able to hang on to this now 1-goal cushion they have here at 3-2. I mean, you think back to where they were in this game, they were 2-0 up, they were 3-1 up, and now it's, down to just within 1 again. So United here entering this essentially second half of play, we'll be hoping that it's not a similar fashion, not now attacking from right to left to start this second half.
I remember Nantes on match day 4 scored a 96th minute equaliser. They'll take a 46th minute equaliser now. Just as Harry was mentioning, just a reminder, this game It's still 3-2 to United. We're now playing the first half, which is essentially the second half. The match will finish on 45 minutes.
Koulibaly finds Simon. Looking for the man in the box. Unfortunately there, Eric Bailly will be fouled. If you're an FC Nantes fan, that's a tough one to see because they were looking promising there. But it will be essentially a goal kick here to Manchester United, and they've been winning the ball well in the middle of the pitch with Scott McTominay, and here comes Martial with Rashford in support. Look out for Damani Mellor in the middle as well. Back to McTominay. Damani Mellor wrestling with Nantes defenders and winning. Looking for once again Damani Mellor in the middle. He has been solid for Manchester United, playing for the under-23s. He's been drafted up to the first team here. eFootball.Pro, Albon Lafont there in the FC Nantes goal, living life dangerously, and it's a 3-on-3 here momentarily at the back. Scott McTominay looking for Mata, dealt with in the end.
What's interesting actually is that under-23 football, plenty can leave in January to go on loan.
Oh, look at
not
this.
Mellor, fortunately for Manchester United.
Limbombe tackled well by Lindelof. Ermond is here. Koulibaly though was unfortunately running the wrong way. Mata. There is that man Mellor, but Corinne has done so well to read the play. Ermond to Prado, back to him now. Maguire getting a foot to the ball, and it's just enough, and the frustrations on the stage are starting to creep in. Prado cut out by Maguire well. Eldridge O'Neill there doing defensive duties, and that's a ball for Martial to chase. Will he get there first? The Nantes defender just had a yard on him, and that will be the difference here. 20 minutes gone. Don't forget, this is essentially the second half of the first game between these two clubs. Not in the ascendancy, but that one's cut out. Mata now. Oh, Damani Mellor. That's a good ball, and he's through one-on-one. Can he beat Lafont in goal? No, he can't. Roxer with the manual goalkeeping saves the goal for Manchester United. The goal was gaping, and this keeping was tremendous.
Goes back to that point. It's bluff or double bluff, and in that instance, they tried the double bluff and completely came unstuck.
He also had Rashford as well. I suppose that was an option, but you can totally understand when he's through on goal. And as we're seeing again, it's the first half, but everyone making changes as if it is the last 10-15 minutes, which is almost what it is actually. These changes coming even earlier, halfway through this half of football. It's a huge half. As Manchester United look to see out the points, which would be enough for them to move above Nantes ahead of their return fixture, which will take place directly after this.
Don't forget Cams for Manchester United, still technically one goal away from a match ball himself with the hat-trick, so not sure who that was through one-on-one for Manchester United, but if it was Cams, then I can understand why he wouldn't want to play in his teammate.
Equally, if he was controlling Marcus Rashford, he'd be absolutely screaming for it.
That was a close one there, going directly for goal from the corner. So still time now for FC Nantes. Yuan wins the ball, spread out wide. Look at the run at the far post. Limbombe, can he find anyone? Yuan and Ermond in support, and it's
a fantastic
Turan
block.
Zebe with a tremendous clearance. Ostrubuch that was on defensive duties for United.
That own goal written all over it, didn't it?
Dangerous. Dangerous area to be fizzed into. Martial will force another corner. Nantes swing the ball in. It's bounced around in the middle. Comes out to Limbombe. We'll come back to him. Krin looking for Yuan, and United, they're grateful to get a little bit of the rub of the green. Look at Damani Mellor in behind. Cut out in the end by Wagway. Here is Bamba to Ermond. David De Gea with a save. Eldridge O'Neill just cheating him across. That would have been the equaliser for FC Nantes. But it's brought back actually for a foul on an FC Nantes man from Matic. Ball swung in. Look out for Ewan. Well defended from United. FC Nantes though still on the prowl. Bamba. There's Eldridge again with David De Gea.
Dave saves once again. Now this is the one thing that the resetting of the match does do, of course, is that yellow cards are nullified, and Nemanja Matic has now picked up 2 in this fixture, but he remains on the pitch.
Well, I think Martial would have been sent off as well at
but you know, as we always say, it is the same rules for both players, and you use that to your advantage. You know that, you know, you haven't got a yellow card with Matic, so you can dive into challenges. Another youngster comes on in James Garner.
Jesse Lingard getting a run out as well. We'll have to see if Pogba features here for Manchester United as they enter essentially the last 15 minutes of this match. Currently poised 3-2 in favour of United.
Well, they've used all 3 subs. I think the last one was Bruno Fernandes they brought on, so be an eFootball.Pro debut for Fernandes.
Yep, the Portuguese is on, and having picked up that second yellow card, Nemanja Matic is swiftly removed.
Smartly done. Didn't want to see him pick up a 3rd yellow. Damani Mella the target. And for Manchester United, these final few moments are all about weathering the storm, making sure you don't concede a late equaliser. Bamba inside to Krin, looking for Ewan, but wasteful in the end by FC Nantes. United, though, can't get out of their own half for now. Lingard clatters into his own man. And that will allow the ball to come straight back at them. Long ball. Will it bounce for Ewan? No, it will not. And it will be an FC Nantes throw here, 10 minutes to go. What can they conjure up? What needs to change for FC Nantes? I mean, they got 2 goals before the restart.
That was quite interesting there, by the way. Manchester United again stopped the game, and there was some groans and moans and looks from the 3 Nantes players, I think, as if to say, you're checking our momentum here with all of these changes.
Yeah, but it's gamesmanship, and even at this type of level, you'll take every advantage that you can. A known kind of person who will kind of pause for not a lot really can sometimes be Christopher for Arsenal, who does have that jarring mentality of just throwing your momentum off just that touch, but it's enough that
we've all played against people like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're amongst friends, you ban it, don't you?
Yeah,
you say you are not allowed to do that.
The ball is only paused after it goes out of play.
Otherwise, you have to make the next round of tees.
Yeah.
Or you hit them over the head with a pillow.
Yes, there is also that option as well.
Because you can see there, Manu trying to just tactically reinforce themselves. Switching to all-out defence, which again makes your entire team retreat backwards, as opposed to just trying to cut the ball off at source.
Bamba looking for Ermond in the middle. Abied is there as well, but now a first touch on the pitch, I believe, for Bruno Fernandes. Welcome to the eFootball.Pro. That's a mistake from you to start things off. United, though, keep ball now for them. I doubt they'll go for a 4th unless the opportunity really presents itself on a plate. Damani Mella cutting the ball out here for United. Lingard, though, can't make anything of it, and you can just sense the tide turning in FC Nantes' favour. Here is Ewan. One last throw of the dice, maybe. Late challenge, that's a naughty one. You could argue maybe had to be done.
It's the same tactics. Garner's replaced Matic. Same type of challenge.
Abied to fire it home, and it's a goal from Roxa! From 25 to 30 yards out. It's not often we see a direct free kick goal in the eFootball.Pro, and it's the equaliser for FC Nantes.
You can pause all you want. You don't save those.
Pick that one out of the net. David De Gea has been so well throughout this match. I think this will be the angle to look for. Right into the top corner.
And again, that's the gamble you take if you don't man your goal keep from a free kick, is that such is the quality of these players. They know exactly how much power to put and exactly where to position it. And it leaves you all asunder there.
It's another late leveller for Nantes. This game, remember, will finish at the 45-minute mark.
Damani Mella, just nothing going United's way so far, and the throw-in won't either. Will FC Nantes maybe look for a winner here from the most unlikely of positions? Ewan here, they've won the ball. Looking for Bamba, he's through on. It's Roxa one-on-one with David De Gea. Will he square it? No! Unfortunately, loses his footing.
greeted with
final moments.
Greeted with cheers from everybody in the VIP zone.
There's not too many Nantes fans up there. It's a point apiece. Wow, and you know those cheers are from all of the other clubs who want and know how tight it's going to be to finish in the 5th, 6th positions. They didn't want any of these teams, either of these teams, to pick up 3 points. What a game. Slightly disrupted, but it's finished 3-3. And that, for me, I think is the most entertaining match of the day thus far. Thank goodness we have another fixture between the two coming up in a couple of minutes' time.
Absolutely. Hopefully it's not a more cagey affair as we saw between Bayern München and Juventus earlier on. But, I mean, it had everything. Drama, celebrations.
Yellow cards.
Pauses. Tactical changes, but in the end, honours even. And FC Nantes are just kings of the late goal. And if Roxa was able to stick that one home, I think that would have been a match ball for himself as well. So, well,
he could have squared it. Where should he have squared it?
Could have been 2 extra points.
I think if you go that too close to the goalkeeper, that there's only 2 real options. You essentially either have to square it or you lob the keeper. If the keeper's already down, you can easily just tap L1 as you hit the shoot button. It just lofts it over them, and it's an easy goal. But as we say, in the emotion of the situation, in the anticipation of it, it's how wrapped up you are to make those kind of calls. And I think Nantes just kind of forgot where they were for a moment. And
it's one of those moments when you can feel yourself grabbing the control of that bit tighter.
Yeah.
Because you know it's the last kick of the game as well. Everyone watching did. You can see the highlights now on your screen. It was an absolute belter of a game. And actually, perhaps the best thing was that you didn't get too much of a momentum killer when the console had the issue with the console and we started again. Actually, we saw in the previous fixture that did make a bit of an impact. I don't think it did in this one. It basically took off from where it had left.
Yeah, and that was it. Both teams kind of still maintained that intensity. So you saw it when United went 3-2 up, and you saw the intensity they had before the console issue happened, and then you saw the intensity afterwards. They were trying to pause, they were trying to stall some time for the game. It didn't really matter though. You've got a moment of brilliance again, which is where we're kind of at with this at the moment. Is that there are these moments of brilliance that are defining these games as they go on.
Nantes 3-1 down to draw 3-3. Going into the second match between them, Harry, in terms of attitude and confidence. We saw that chance there as well for United, who, let's hope that they're not watching the feed here because that won't have done them any good. Nantes, you would think, now have the momentum going into this next game.
You could argue that. The big plays really came in from Roxa, and you could argue he cost them 2 points by not converting that one-on-one at the end, but realistically he was the one who gained them the point in the first place, controlling Albon Lafont in the FC Nantes net, making that save, and then also firing, really rifling the free kick home. So rare we see a direct free kick scored in the eFootball.Pro League, and he's pulled it off from quite the distance out. It was really impressive. To answer your question, yeah, I would argue FC Nantes, certainly with the wind in their sails coming into this one.
Well, the second fixture is almost upon us here. Concentration. United have to put that very, very late goal behind them now. These two are so close in the table. We might just look back on this in a couple of weeks' time as a massive 2 fixtures, but now fixture between them. Ultimately, you get the picture that United and Nantes are going to be in and around the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th spot. Who goes through to the knockout stages? You might just look back at this game here, Wes, and think, wow, that was a very important fixture.
You may just look at that last chance and go, that was how important it was. And for either team, you had Mellor on one side where it was great manual goalkeeping, and the other side it just almost felt like it was a little bit of indecision as to how he wanted to, to take it on. You could have potentially gone around the goalkeeper if he had enough pace. There's loads of different ways you can deal with it, but it's easy for me to sit up here and go, here's how I would have done it. When you're in that type of environment, it's so many different things that are going through your head.
Absolutely. The league table, just so you know, top 6 remember going through to the knockout stages. Nantes are 6th on 11 points. United are now 8th with 9 points. Celtic sandwiched in between them. And then to come next up, Arsenal and Schalke, who are both bottom of the pile with with only, I say only 7 points, but I'm just looking ahead to that one quickly. 2 wins for either of those teams, and they might be up to 5th. It's a bonkers league table, which we can see on our screen right now. Monaco leading the way, but their lead has been cut to just 1 point.
But
Bayern
I mean,
are second. They could have gone top, but a very good day for Bayern.
And looking at this return fixture for Manchester United, you still have to say the same rules apply. You know,
Yeah.
3 points here, you still leapfrog your opponents, which is what the main goal would have been
Absolutely.
to do coming into today.
Leapfrog your opponents and move to within one point of Boa Vista in 5th. So, huge game, intriguing game. Not a top of the table clash, but massive eFootball.Pro points. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster for all 6 players, given the way that first game went with everything that happened.
And we knew it coming into today when you looked at today's fixtures. We saw at the top of the show, AS Monaco versus Barcelona, 1st versus 4th. Barcelona coming in with the shock. Celtic versus Boa Vista, again, you know, sort of a trade-off of play styles there. Juventus versus Bayern München, 2nd versus 3rd coming into today. We almost prophesized it in that there are so many 12-pointers essentially playing today on Matchday 5 that it was set up for this sort of drama and this sort of gameplay that we're seeing on the stage, which is, again, what we all want to see.
Yeah, no one's clear at the top, no one's cut adrift at the bottom. Long may that continue, because it makes every game massive. These boys know it. Don't look especially happy, despite the fact they came into this game with a last-ditch equaliser against Manchester United in the first fixture between the two. To expect any... I haven't seen a great amount of personnel change, I wouldn't say, today from match to match. You know, you talked a lot, Wes, about how much these guys build up and the plans they have. And maybe sensible they're not, just to throw those out of the window, because emotionally you lost the game.
Yeah, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's you want to just go, okay, well, we can still play properly. We can still play with this team. And you know, these guys have like I say, they would have researched their teams to the nth degree, and they'll know what their teams are capable of and what they're not capable of.
So we kick off then the second game between these two football clubs. It feels like a lifetime ago we started game 1. Here we are, time to reset. We start afresh at 0-0. You could argue not certainly the side in the ascendancy at the end of the first game, scoring 2 to bring it back to a 3-3 scoreline. Can United get into the lead and stay there? That's been the question we've been asking of them every single match day. It's a feat that they've struggled to do. Thinking all the way back to when they last played a game like that. I think it was against Arsenal they last secured a proper 3-point result which looked convincing. So after letting that 3-1 lead slip in the previous match, hopefully we can see them make it good this time. Here's Damani Mella, chance for an early goal. Looks like it is going to be a goalkeeper change, strangely enough, here for FC Nantes. They were using Albon Lafont in the first game.
I just said we didn't have many personnel changes. That is a big one.
Yeah, very strange. Simon now has Koulibaly to look for. I think he's offside, and he is. Just going a little bit too early, or maybe the pass coming just a little bit too late.
I mean, that type of range there is the goal that you alluded to back on Matchday 4 when myself and yourself had had a game instead. That's the type of range that you want to try and put a finesse shot in. Maybe not try and, not try and do something where you're trying to pass through a defence, because both teams have got solid centre-half pairings. You've got Maguire, you've got Bayer, you've got Palios. You've got those sorts of players that are littered around this pitch. Try and do something out of it. We saw it in the last game with the free kick, is try to get through, but you've got to try and do something that's a little bit different.
We've seen very few long-range efforts today. So 1 goal in off the post, but very few players deciding to go for goal from distance.
We have Martial feeds McTominay. Here is Juan Mata, back to Martial. Damani Mella drags it wide. That was a great opportunity, but you're right, Chris. We often see, with great centre-back pairings, them try and defend deep rather than coming to the ball. So was there a ball on there, Wes?
Yeah, there was. There was Marcus Rashford that just crept into shot as he took that ball roll out. He stood leg one pass off. He got an opportunity at goal.
It's Damani Mella's weak left foot as well, or weaker left foot, I should say, which makes an impact, doesn't it?
Yep, yeah, your shot accuracy isn't what it should be on your weaker foot, and some players have a better weaker foot accuracy than others.
Koulibaly here has Herman in support, goes for a little bit of skill there, can't quite beat the on-rushing United defenders. Still 0-0 here, 24 minutes gone. United here in possession of the ball. That's away with one though. That will feed possession back to FC Nantes, playing a one-touch passing game here out of the back. The ball falls to Koulibaly. Finds Simon Prado ahead of him, but Juan Mata doing defensive duties. Hopefully it's not more of a cagey affair like we saw earlier on against Juventus against Bayern München. That's a bit of a mistake there in the end by Ostrovic, just shepherding the ball out of play, but FC Nantes trying to come on the attack, but again it's just looking for that last bit of class in the final third that they're lacking at the moment. Ball will fall to Rashford. Here is Damani Mellor. Martial will gather the stray ball. Juan Mata is onside. From the route there across. Just hoofed up the pitch away from danger, Wes.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be too much of a much as there's been very few opportunities here apart from the hard chance from Mellor. There hasn't really been a lot really to shout about.
Herman finds Limbombe running onto it with pace. Looking for Koulibaly, so close. Was there a touch from a defender? We'll see it here again on the replay, but that's a bit better from FC Nantes.
That's a bit more like the first fixture between the two clubs as well. It's not more cagey in this second period.
So given how good Koulibaly's been over the course of this season, you'd put your house on him scoring that one. But it was good from Nantes to be able to create that space. It was one extra pass that wasn't anticipated that allowed them the space to get the cross in.
Koulibaly is being an absolute menace there in front of the United back four. One well in midfield for a moment, but the ball will fall to Mata, who tries to play a long one to Martial, but Cams, who was controlling him, just went too early. And that will turn over possession to the Ligue 1 side. United now with Damani Mellor through. Has a couple of men to beat here before the chance is really on. Tries to catch the defending player, who was Ayaz Babisk, napping, maybe trying to second guess him there. Ayaz Babisk, unfortunately, Chris, is on top of the defensive points table throughout the entire league, so the captain for FC not easily beaten in that regard.
I was just going to say that. It looked a bit of a mismatch, didn't it? As we approach half-time, Nantes 0, Manchester United 0.
Koulibaly here. Good territory for FC Nantes. Lindelof trying to shepherd him out of play, but he keeps it in. Here is Herman. Koulibaly was in there ahead again. Herman with an interesting shot. That was Kepa, but again, maybe more options on. As we enter added time, hoofed clear by Kepa, maybe looking for some of his teammates there, but looks like unless the referee plays on, which he does, we'll be entering the half on as even. Can United get a late goal here in the first half? Kept in by FC Nantes, and that surely will be half-time.
Goalless at the break. It was goal-laden, the last fixture, but it continues the theme of today. I don't think we had a single reverse fixture which has been anywhere like the opening game between the two clubs. It's as if they've both taken something away from the first fixture, tweaked a few things, and they've tended to be, particularly in the first half of the second match, a lot tighter.
Yeah, often we will see between two legs, teams have the opposite effect between the two games. It works both ways in that if the first leg is too cagey, they'll open up in the second, and vice versa. So Oliero then, the standing goalkeeper for FC Nantes, boost this one up the pitch, and it will be Manchester United here in the second half of this second game, attacking from right to left. Koulibaly, that's a lovely pass into him, might open up here for Simon on the right-hand side, and goes for goal straight away. De Gea palms it right back into the danger area, and FC Nantes break the deadlock here in the second half.
Well, that's what we're talking about. In an area of the pitch where you normally see players that we've seen today will pass it and try and cross it, someone takes a shot, and you know, you have to bank on there being a rebound, and that's exactly what Nantes did here. It wasn't pretty, but you take a risk. You know, from here, you know, there are options in the middle. With you know, you look at the fact that, you know, they played it off to Koulibaly. Could have easily been passed back to Koulibaly. Instead, they've took the shot, and there's a gamble, and which is what you should be doing.
Yeah, I think it's Eric Bailly who goes the other way, if you like. Striker on the money. Just that moment's hesitation from Bailly was the difference. Not of the comeback kids, all right. Equalised so late in the first fixture, and now they lead. This really would strengthen their top 6 spot.
Don't leave Ayaz Babisk hanging like that. Come on, Kepa. Where's the chemistry?
We have seen some awful handshakes in eFootball.Pro, but that is right up there.
That's disgraceful. Ayaz Babisk with his 5th goal of the season. Captain of FC Nantes really stepping up. And it's pinballing around at the moment, luckily in FC Nantes' favour for the French side. And now what do United have in the tank? They've given so much across these 2 games. Now it's time for them really to show us that they are worth their league position. Koulibaly looking for Iman. Bombay's in support here as well. It's Simon, the man who really created that goal with his first-time shot.
I wonder if there might be a yellow card when this next goes out of play as well.
We'll have to look out for it.
It's the longest advantage ever known. It's about 15 minutes.
Iman, Koulibaly's in here. 3 men in defence here for Manchester United. And as we have a look at what that does to the league table as it stands, United's defence has looked very shaky. When you look back to that goal, 2 central defenders both coming towards the goal, and that might be something that FC Nantes look to exploit. Bit of miscommunication. Koulibaly trying to feed Iman, but United have enough bodies, but it's very haphazard defending here.
It's big Harry Maguire, that's what it was. Important touch.
That's a freebie for Manchester United. And here is that card that you were talking about, Chris.
Yeah, it was a late challenge. Referee has a very good memory. I think that was about 20 minutes of PES action. You know, it's one of those that I think, how long can we go on for? Could we keep this one in until, if the ball doesn't go out of play before full time, he might never pick up the yellow card.
He probably wrote it in his book as he was running.
It's one of those ones where you kind of forget how you actually picked up the bookie.
Yes.
It really was that long. But
it actually, if you're cynical, it's one of those that you chuckle about, because you might have remembered making the challenge and everyone else says, what's that for? And then you have a little chuckle. You think, just watch this.
Well, this is interesting here. It's that kind of golden period of making substitutions and making tactical changes. 63 minutes on the clock. Manuel 1-0 down. They've got a corner, which they didn't. It was a gift. You know, it was a gimme. There wasn't. You know, it was a pass back to a goalkeeper that's gone out for a corner, and all of a sudden the opportunities are starting to present themselves. You can see there that they've kind of changed to a 3-4-3, which is uncharacteristic of them, as we've seen from Matchdays gone by. Odion Ighalo appears to have made his way in.
He's going to be making his eFootball.Pro debut. For a moment there, Eric Bailly was the right centre forward, but it was always because Ighalo needed to go into the position. But if you look at this formation now, well, Martial is almost playing as the left wing back. Manchester United have to go for it, and it would appear they are.
Well, I would have argued maybe you keep Eric Bailly on for the corner at least, but let's have a little listen to FC Nantes and how they want to approach the later stages of this match.
As you can see there, though, Cams and O'Neill in deep discussion as to what they're doing next here. And you know, if they were only to come out with a result here that's a it's a loss, that's 1 point out of a possible 6 they could have got. Starts to look a little bit dicey for Man United,
particularly when they led the opening game until basically one of the last 3 kicks. That's where I think it would struggle. But as you mentioned, Harry, they've taken off Eric Bailly. They need to make sure they don't try and score from this corner, which they almost do. And you know what? Ighalo was at the far post lurking around. It's going to be Nantes ball.
What's a debut that would have been? First touch of the ball. A potential goal, but he will have to wait for his first touch. As the changes continue to come in, you can see Scott McTominay come off there for Jesse Lingard.
It's interesting there's no Pogba.
Yeah, obviously falling out of favour with the Manchester United eFootball.Pro squad, and look at this. What a find that is. Bamba down the right-hand side has Ewan in support. Can he find him? Oh, it almost trickles through to him. Maguire there, indecisive on the ball. And now United could come forward. Igalo doesn't quite win the header. But Lingard's there to intercept. It's a blasted ball trying to find Rashford. Almost catching the defence sleeping, and now this game has really opened up. Limbombe. Emon there was in support, but tackled by Lindelof just to stem the flow of the attack. But Emon has kept on his way. Good tackle though by Eldridge O'Neill, and United still chasing this game.
They've gone for it, haven't they, Wes? It's one of those gambles that can pay off. There's definitely going to be more possibilities for Nantes at the other end of the pitch, but United are pretty much all out attack. Look where Martial is taking that throw.
Yeah, you can see that they understand the urgency of the game that they're in, but it's whether they can execute. It's okay having the formation, but you need to be able to execute at the same time, and they've left a massive gap here for Emond.
Yeah, Renard Emond is through here. Has no one in support. Could have maybe gone for it himself there. Instead tried to find a teammate, unselfish of him, but in the end probably wasn't the right decision. I mean, referee has played on here. I thought that one was a little too physical for my liking. Look at Ermond in the middle. He has been found. Limbombe's open as well. Great save, great block. It's going to be a corner. Could have been 2-0 to FC Nantes.
The space for the French side now of this United tactical tweak. If it works and they get a point, then well done. But at the moment, Nantes already with two massive chances to score the second, which would surely put this game to bed. And I think maybe United are now going to go even more attacking. Anthony Martial has been pushed up once more. He doesn't have much energy left by the looks of things, Anthony Martial.
Yeah, you can see there, you just see Cam's trying to direct traffic between himself and Eldridge. Austri kind of looking a little bit on the periphery, but then again, Austri's on the quieter side of PES players. He's not as vocal. But, you know, when you've got vocal leaders like those two, it's interesting the Almighty DS hasn't chimed in with anything. You know, we saw it with Lutty chime in with Bayern in the same way. It's quite interesting to see that he hasn't chimed in. But it's one of these tactical tweaks that if it works, it's a master stroke, and if it doesn't, there's a massive inquest. I don't know. I'm still not sure as to how it's going to fall down in the end, though.
It's the right knee of David De Gea that has led us to this resulting corner, and really spared United's blushes, because there were a couple of men consecutively open for FC Nantes in the United box. This corner about to be swung in. Blocked and forced into another corner, and FC Nantes will be happy with this as time trickles down. They're getting closer and closer to 3 valuable eFootball.Pro points. Martial deals with that one, and now Mason Greenwood on the pitch is tackled down a little cynically. A professional and a valuable one there really for FC Nantes. Gets men behind the ball. Emond will go in the book for it though.
Definitely the type of yellow card your teammates applaud you for, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Check the progress, stop the counter-attack.
The attack now comes for Manchester United. Nantes' defence so far though has looked fairly solid, and they're happy to allow Emond to challenge Harry Maguire. The Englishman stout in his defensive responsibilities there. Will this break for one last chance here for either side? Lindelof. Greenwood now. Igalo running on beyond him. Rashford finds Mata. Is this the chance? The equaliser, and it's in. What a fabulous goal by Manchester United, and at a vital stage of the game. Talk me through that one, Wes, because that one was much needed.
Well, no sooner did we talk about the pick between Mata and Fernandes, that the United research comes in and comes up trumps. 4 minutes left now. There's a lot of pressure on, and they were finding passes. They found their ways through there. I mean, it was a neat little ball in there. It's a great run. It's a fantastic find, and it's the captain Eldridge who pops it away to make it 1-1. But again, greatly applauded by the VIP zone, because it's another draw, and it's not 3 points. And again, the effect it's going to have on the table, it now kind of opens it up a bit more for people.
Yeah, credit Eldridge, and you can see Rocks are there in the middle of the FC Nantes squad. credit Eldridge, his run from deep with Mata was really what caught the Nantes defence sleeping. Allowed them to get the equaliser here in this second match. Potentially 2 draws on the cards unless there is late drama here at the eFootball.Pro. Watch out for Erman down the middle. Oh, brilliant save. 5th goal of the season from Eldridge, but that save from De Gea might have saved them some points. Into added time now in this second game. Can Nantes find themselves a winner? This would be heartbreak for United. Limbombe, Bamba, Ewan was through as well. Tuanzebi's there with the clearance. And I think we are just about out of time between these two clubs. It would take one long ball within the next few seconds. That's what they look for, but it's out once again, and I think that's done.
I think the origins of the noise upstairs, I believe, judging by the tones of it, are the Boa Vista players.
Yep.
It very much sounds like they are very happy that this is happening. As you can hear from their reaction, they've again, it's 2 points dropped again, and I'm not sure how this is going to impact the rest of the league going forward, but it just makes Matchday 6 all the more interesting.
Brilliant entertainment between Nantes and Manchester United. 1 point apiece. Both will probably think they could have got 6. Both might have got 0. Both get 2. Astonishing late drama in both matches. Not the Manchester United. Tell you what, I wouldn't mind them meeting in the knockout stages if it's going to be as good as that. They're making their way down to the mix zone as we speak. And they'll need a bit of a lie down, both those sets of players. It's amazing how the pendulum swims in eFootball.Pro. Nantes, who've scored so many late goals themselves this season, pegged back at the death. Manchester United celebrating there. And one imagines they will be celebrating when Harry gets hold of them in the mix zone.